Welcome back to another Farming Simulator 25 precision farming video. So this is being made with the first release of precision farming, and we're going to have a look at Tramlines today. So to set Tramlines up, you go into the precision farming menu, you click on Tramlines, and you set the working width that you want your Tramlines to be at. And that's pretty much all you can do to affect them. So I've got them set on two fields which are pretty much the same size, and what we're going to do is I'm going to get Courseplay to seed these fields, and we're going to have the tractors working in two perpendicular directions to see what happens with the tramlines. The tramlines were, spoiler alert, a feature that I was really excited the Giants were adding in to the game, because I am a massive fan of the Proseed mod by Wobster. The thumbnail might have given that away. And I've used that mod in both previous versions of the game. Those are the only two other versions of the game that I've played. And, you know, I really like adding tramlines to fields because they make the fields look a lot more like what I'm used to seeing in fields in the UK. You know, typically fields in the UK will have tramlines in them. Now, if you do or don't like tramlines, that's personal opinion. If you don't like tramlines, you probably don't care about this video, although you might, because tramlines have other problems with precision farming. So you'll see that all of the NPC fields, or a lot of the NPC fields, have tramlines in them as well. Weirdly, even the grass fields have tramlines in them. Or some of the ones that I've seen anyway. I don't know why Giants are putting tramlines in grass fields, because you don't do that, Giants. Someone will tell me I'm wrong in that they put tramlines in their grass fields, and if you do that, well, aren't you frickin' special? Anyway, yeah, so the problems that they have, if you like doing contracts, well, the tramlines affect the yield that you get when you do a harvesting contract, and from what I've heard from chatting to people, it stops you completing harvesting contracts because you don't get enough yield. I'm just setting this one up to go perpendicularly to the field, not how you would normally seed a field, but we want to test to see if that affects the tramlines. So yeah, it affects harvesting contracts in that you don't get enough to finish the contract. It also affects cultivating contracts, depending on the equipment you use. And if you use the equipment supplied least with the contract, if you have I think it's a shallow cultivator, it can't break through the seedbed ground type that's used for the tramlines. And so again, you can't complete the contract. And some of the least equipment that's supplied is a shallow cultivator. So yeah. Tramlines have issues as released. So we're going to get these fields seeded on kind of sped up mode. And one of the things I really hate is that you can't see the tramlines going in as you put them in. That's one of the things I really like with Proseed, is that you at least have the option to see the area that you're not seeding. Now, I guess in the real world, you probably wouldn't see that because it's really hard to see where you've put the seed, but it's a really nice feature to get that visual feedback before you have, you know, as you're going. It gives you a nice visual indicator. And I think also the ITS Tramliner mod, whatever it is, that also gives you visual feedback. And you might have just seen there as I flashed the map up, a bit of a spoiler as to which way the field that's going the wrong way as it seeds is putting in its tramlines. So let's talk about it. The way tramlines are put in, they are generated off of the worker algorithm. And by default, I say by default, they are put in with the way the worker would work, running along the axis or the long axis of the field. So although we are seeding across the field, and I did some tests before this where I was just weaving down the field, and I didn't even seed the whole field, I just kind of weaved around the field, and I got perfectly straight tramlines still that ran along where the worker would generate a course. And I guess kind of the nice thing is if you set up the worker or you set up the AI GPS, it will work with that quite nicely. But the tramlines give you really nasty square edges. And it takes away the user interaction element of putting in tramlines. You just seed the field however you want, and you get these perfectly square tramlines, as we will see in a moment when I let the crop grow a bit, because it needs to grow for the tramlines to show. So, and I just think Giants really missed an opportunity here to make this an interactive feature. So this is the field where we went and we did things, of course, they did things properly. And you see tramlines that went in the direction the seeder was going, at least completely ignoring how the field was seeded. And then the field where we seeded across the field, we got perfectly straight tramlines going up and down the field. So it completely ignored what the tractor did. I just hate that. There's no interaction for the player. So it completely ignores how things were done. And so the next test I'm going to do, because this is driven by the AI worker algorithm, I figured, what if we change the AI worker setup? So fresh save, and I change the AI worker setup so that it's set to run perpendicular to the field. So maybe I thought maybe if I change that, will that change how the tramline is going? And we're going to do a bit of random seeding first, and then I'm going to follow the direction of the AI worker. So half of it done randomly and half of it done properly. And we will see if I seed this in the direction that the AI worker is set up to work. Does it work? And we'll see if that has an effect. Now, I really feel that Giants dropped the ball on this feature. It could have been awesome, but it's really not. And that kind of sums up precision farming at the moment. I've got some more videos planned of things where they just seem to have dropped the ball. So, yeah, there we go. And I'm so disappointed with this feature. So disappointed. I'm really disappointed, in fact, with precision farming in its first state. I think if this was a player mod, it probably wouldn't have either made it through testing or stayed on ModHub with the issues it has at the moment. Anyway, that's it for today's video. I really hope that Wopster is working on Proseed, because I'm not going to be using the tramlines built into precision farming. I hate them. I think it's really badly implemented. It feels like a real token gesture to implement a feature that could have been awesome. So yeah, that's my opinion. Opinions are like that thing we all have, and I'm sure some of you probably disagree with me. Some of you might agree, but I just wanted to highlight how this feature does or doesn't work, the issues it has in that it affects your ability to do contracts, and I don't think you can turn them off on the AI worker fields. So basically it just means you can't do harvesting contracts at the moment. You can do cultivating contracts if you've got a cultivator that does deep cultivation, but you can't use the least equipment if it's a shallow cultivator. So yeah, precision farming needs work. Giants need to, and this is one of those ones where I agree with people, Giants need to release an update to it. They need to fix it. They probably shouldn't have released it when they did. They should have fixed it. Anyway, that's it for now. See you next time.